Okay, we're looking at solving linear systems by graphing. A system of linear equations, or simply a linear system, consists of two or more linear equations in the same variable. A solution of a system of linear equations in two variables is an ordered pair that satisfies each equation. A linear system that has exactly one solution is called a consistent independent system because the lines are distinct, are independent, and they intersect. So the first one should be really easy. All we have to do is decide where they cross. So we're looking and we know they go over 1, 2. So my first coordinate is 2.
4.
And then it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all we're doing. That's where they cross. So after you graph your equations, you have to make sure you put down where they cross. Okay. All right, let's move on to example number 2. Remember, all I'm doing is listing the x and then the y of where the two equations cross, which is how I got 2, 4. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to graph it. Do we remember how to graph these?
Yeah.
Let's look at that first one. My slope is what? My m? 1. Because there's nothing in front of x, I know it's 1. Or 1 over 1, we could call it. And my b, or my y-intercept, is -1. So I go over to my x and y axis, I go to my y axis, I go down 1, and I put, oops, this needs to be, hold on. It's not perfect, it won't show up in the graph, right? Mark, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was asking, what if you didn't do that?
Then it would not be correct. It would not show up correctly. Okay, let's try this again. We put our first dot at -1. And then we go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Or we can go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. I'm going to do it the whole way because I don't know where it might intersect. Okay. So for the second one, what is my slope? 2 over 1 or 2, either way. And my b or my y-intercept is -3. So I go to my line and I put my first dot at -3. And then I go up 1, 2 over 1, up 1, 2 over 1. And I can see it's going to cross right here at 2, 1. 2, 1 is where it crosses. Yes. What are you confused about, Jasmine? The graphing part or the where it crosses part?
The graphing part.
Okay. We know that the slope is always right in front of the x. If you look at this first one, there's no number right in front of the x, so I know that's 1. And that's the slope. That's how much you go up and over. The number that's by itself, the -1, is where it crosses the y-axis. So I put my first point right at -1 on the y-axis, because that's always where it crosses the y-axis. Then from there, I know I go up 1 over 1, because that's my slope. Up 1 over 1. And so I did the same thing with the green, except it crossed at -3 on the y-axis. So I go to the y-axis, I put -3. And then its slope is 2 over 1. So I went up 2 over 1. Okay? So if it's in y equals mx plus b form, you should always be able to graph to see what the m is and what the b is. Okay, we'll try another one like that. All right, what's the problem when looking at example 3?
It don't got no...
They're not in what form?
mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b or slope-intercept form. So the first thing I'm going to do is put them in slope-intercept form. So what am I going to have to do for that first one? Subtract 3x. Y equals -3x minus 2. So then I'm going to write down my m and my b so I know how to graph it. What's my m? -3 over 1, and what's my b? -2. So I'm going to go to my y-axis, and where's my first dot go? On what? -2. And then I'm going to go down 3 over 1. What's the opposite of down 3 over 1? Up 3 over -1. Now here is my first line. Now my second line, I'm going to subtract x from both sides. to get y by itself. What is my m and my b? Negative 1 over 1 is my m because there's nothing in front of x, so we know it's 1. And my b is 2. So I put my first dot at 2. And then I'm going to go down 1 to the right one, down 1 to the right one. And I'm going to go up 1 to the left one, up 1 to the left one. And I found where it intersects. And it intersects at negative 2. I always list the x first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Positive 4. Any other questions about that? Now, if it never intersects, we call it what? It's parallel, and what would the solution be? I would say no solution. If it was overlapping, what would I say? All real solutions.